Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm not wasting any time tonight. I got Micah in here from the get-go because we've got an hour
Hello.
to preview the latest event auction from ComicConnect. So how you doing, Micah?
We have a hard out tonight.
Yes, we do.
All right.
I got to be in my next show by 9 o'clock.
Well, let's get to it.
All right.
Auction, just a little introduction. Our auction ends Monday evening, starting at 7 o'clock Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 350-ish art lots. We're going to show as many as we can in the next hour.
Exactly, and it's a really good set, I have to say. I mean, every single event auction that you guys have had pretty much since the pandemic has just gotten better and better every time, I think. So
I take all the credit.
You should. I feel the same way. But so well, let's get started. I mean, I could chat about the stuff you've been doing at cons and everything, but we're here to look at artwork. So let me.
I'll give a little bit of a con update at the end because we've got a bunch of appearances coming up.
Good.
But we can start with art.
Fantastic. So, like you said, your latest event auction starts ending on Monday evening. And as I always do, I've kind of ordered everything highest to lowest priced as they currently are today.
I'm prepared.
There's your doozy to start with, though, right?
Yeah, this piece is awesome.
Here, I'm going to switch a couple things around here too on my screen just to make it a little better. You're going to go full screen right now.
All right. So, Gil Kane, Giant Size Supervillain Team Up number 2. Dr. Doom, Submariner. Submariner in his cool 70s suit. Both fighting off the humanoid hordes because comic books. No, this is just a great cover by Kane. Great action, great energy with the two of my Marvel's most classic villains. I mean, villain / not villain, that's where Namor is concerned. But Doom is pretty solidly villain.
Yeah, he has a heart, but it's still in the wrong place.
That's true. But yeah, this cover is awesome, and there's a reason why it's the top piece right now. And yeah, Gil Kane, and Al Milgrom inks. It's a really nice piece.
Well, you can't go wrong with Gil Kane and Al Milgrom inks. I mean, he's prolific, and I've always appreciated his inks as well.
Absolutely. I think the next piece is Milgrom as well.
Well, it's like you say, it's no surprise that one's getting as much attention early on as it is. But yeah, next up we have another Milgrom Marvel team up cover here.
This cover gives you not only Spidey and the Torch, but Thing, this little bubble here from the Invisible Woman, and Reed's arm here. So you got, and another Torch. What could be the story there? I guess you have to read the issue to find out. But it's basically a cover with Spidey and the entire Fantastic Four on it, which is very cool. Marvel Team Up was a great title. I keep waiting. I'm waiting patiently for them to do a Marvel Team Up TV show because I think it's just an obvious idea. You can do it as a cartoon or something. Just do all random characters every episode. Just team up whoever the hell you want because TV shows. But
exactly.
I think they'll get there. I think they'll get to that. But this is a really nice cover, big giant Spidey on it. Very cool. And Spidey and the Torch are like a classic Marvel Team Up pairing. They were the pairing in issue 1.
Very nice. Yeah, Mr. Redbrick says maybe it's a Super Scroll.
That cover's on the wall across from me here, so not for sale.
One of these days, I'll get to see it in person, man.
Well, New York's not that far.
I know.
I'm going to do all the Star Wars pieces at once because it's easier that way. So this one here, this is the most special of the bunch. So Russ Manning, Star Wars Sunday strips. Trying to get the whole thing in here. Manning, Manning most well known for Magnus Robot Fighter, but just an exceptional artist and a really suited, for Star Wars. But so this strip, this is from 1980. This is from June of 1980, and I'm not sure the exact date, but this is at least 2 or 3 months before Star Wars number 42 came out. And this here is got Boba Fett in it. So this is Boba Fett made cameo appearances in 2 dailies before this, but this is the first full comic appearance of Boba Fett ever. Before the Marvel comic, and barely a month after Empire Strikes Back came out in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Just very cool. It's a great, I mean, aside from that, it's just beautiful drawing. You got ships, you got Luke, you got some Star Wars creatures. And, you know, basically what I've told people is that, you know, it's a Sunday strip, and that, you know, that's just the nature of what it is. But if this were, hello back to everybody who's saying hello. If this were a page from Star Wars 42 with Boba Fett on it, it would be worth $100,000. So
I believe that
it's going to go for $100,000, but I'm just saying people shouldn't overlook it because it's not from a comic book per se, but it is a historic piece of Star Wars memorabilia, and that shouldn't be discounted. It's beautifully drawn, and yeah, it's got history in it. So that's my spiel on this Star Wars Sunday. I'm going to go move on to the next one while we're doing the Star Wars Sundays. They're all relatively close to the top of the list, so I'm not going to. So this one, this is the second Star Wars Sunday. This is from March 1979. So the first Sunday, that, you know, the week before this, is actually a little bit boring. It's just a single ship and scroll. This one is chock full of action. It's got the droids in it. It's got explosions and ships chasing this classic Death Star, and it's a little bit of scroll. And I think artistically, this one is maybe my favorite of the bunch. I think it's beautiful. But again, Star Wars history.
Yeah, I like this one a lot myself. I think of this. Well, they're all really nice, but
they're all very, you know, Manning's work on the Star Wars strip. You know, the nature of newspaper strips. You know, some of them are more exciting than others.
Mm-hmm.
And the examples we have here are all, I would say, like A-level examples of the Star Wars newspaper strip. There's no filler. There's not just like people talking, waiting for the action to come later. These are just great examples. The next one, this is from September of 1979. It's got a great big image of Obi-Wan chopping somebody. But it's got Obi-Wan, it's got Han and Chewie and Luke and Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru and droids, and a lot going on here. This is Boba Fett's only appearance in any of the Sunday strips. So Obi-Wan appeared, I'm sure he appeared in the daily strips, but this is his only appearance ever in a Sunday, and doesn't get much better than that. He's wielding his lightsaber, being a Jedi badass.
Okay.
And then another, just again, beautifully drawn by Manning. You know, a great one.
Well, it's cool to have 3 of these in one auction event. I mean,
and the unpublished tryout. So this is before the strip even started. Manning did, you know, I don't know how many he did, but at least the one, like a tryout strip. And this is also, I think, very interesting and very cool just to see the process. And it's penciled. So it's not inked, but it is, you know, it's all Manning. The strip originally was supposed to be called The Adventures of Luke Skywalker. Just a great C-3PO and R2-D2 and Luke, and rescuing Han, who's undercover as a sand person. Because Star Wars. And that's what's fun. I think Star Wars was maybe at its most charming when people were just making up stories at the beginning. So the Marvel comics, the comic strips, when they were, you know, even the novels and things like that, where they were taking something that was new and expanding on it without any real agenda. It was just having fun with these science fiction stories. And that's what makes the comics, the Star Wars comics, when they started doing original stories, so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that Star Wars isn't still fun. I mean, I am of the age that I am, and I grew up with Star Wars, and I can't help myself.
I understand. I'm there too.
I watched The Mandalorian yesterday. I can't.
I've watched the. I love The Mandalorian. I mean, I haven't watched a few of the other ones on Disney Plus, but The Mandalorian was great.
I enjoy, like the Marvel shows, I enjoy all of them, to some extent or another. Some are better, some are worse, but they're all at least fun.
We're thankful to have them.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. I mean, it's a better world for us with these things in them. So let's see here. What have we got?
Next should be the John Buscema Silver Surfer.
Oh yeah, that is that's a doozy.
Yeah, this one's nice, big surfer, big, great space background, Nova flying off, giving Surfer a warning. I think this is a relatively early page in the book. And these pages from the Judgment Day book are very desirable for Buscema fans. It's mostly all Buscema. I think he had background ink assist, but the figures are all pencil and ink by John Buscema. And just some really, really great work. Definitely the best work of this period of his career, I think. It's hard to pinpoint best for John Buscema. His career was very long, and he did a lot of really, really great work. But these pages, and I've been lucky enough to be able to handle a few of the Judgment Day pages, and they're all really, really beautiful in their own way. This one's no exception.
Well, you can't go wrong with John Buscema surfers.
You cannot.
Doesn't matter what period. So this is gorgeous, and a splash page. So this is a nice.
The whole book is splash pages, but that doesn't make it any less cool.
I know. Nicely done.
Yes. Next should be McFarlane, right?
That is correct.
I'm going to do all three of the McFarlanes at once too, because it's easier. And
okay. Yeah.
So
let me switch over to you.
This is from issue 311. You got Spidey basically stopping a mugging, which is some classic Spider-Man action. Perched on the wall, webbing the gun out of the guy's hand, saving this nice couple. My favorite panel on this page, this one here of just the web. I was talking to somebody about this page last week, and I was a testament to McFarlane. And McFarlane, is already considered, one of the top, 3 or 4 Spider-Man artists ever. But the fact that 30 years later, people still draw webbing the way he drew it is a testament to his sort of lasting influence.
That's true.
He basically changed the way webbing was drawn, and it stuck, and it's hard to do that. But no, I grew up on these comics, and I have a huge weakness for them. So it's just cool to get to hang out with them. And this one,
you are very fortunate, Micah.
This one's pretty great. Next, so we have 2 consecutive pages from issue 319. Apologies, 319.
All right.
So it's page 15, which is it's Harry Osborn moving into a new office, and you got the Green Goblin mask just sort of hanging out up here. Definitely not an ominous, sign of something to come. And I love that McFarlane stuck with the Ditko hair on Harry Osborn. Just great McFarlane expressions. I love the cityscape in the top. Just really, really, McFarlane, still is. I don't want to talk about him in the past tense, but, he really did burst on with a very unique style. And, that means something. It's incredibly difficult to make a mark as early in your career as McFarlane did. And then to have that continue and can stay that popular for, 35 years now.
That's true.
So this is the following page. This is Peter and Mary Jane at home. Peter is exhausted because, he's Spider-Man. Mary Jane is coming back from some modeling thing, I'm sure. But another thing that McFarlane did was he changed the way Mary Jane looked. And I don't know anybody who doesn't enjoy McFarlane's Mary Jane. And you got some great drawings here. Just quintessentially McFarlane. There's no scenario where you look at this page and think anybody else might have drawn it. And that's It's a sign of a really unique artist where you don't have to ask who drew it or, guess. You look at this page and you say, oh, that's a Todd McFarlane Spider-Man page. And,
yeah, it's gorgeous.
And I think everybody knows how difficult these pages are to come by. So having 3 of them in one auction is special. And I'm proud of it, proud to have them.
As well you should be. I mean, that's why I said I feel like these auctions do keep getting a little better every single time, and the quality keeps going up. I mean, I think so that's been consistent, a good trend from
you
guys.
I'm not complaining.
I know you're doing a lot of traveling, so I know you're picking up consignments all the time too.
Really? The next auction's already got a good start.
Yeah.
And then there's more shows coming up. I'll run over the schedule.
Okay.
Next should be the Defenders page, right? Are they both together? If they're not both together, I'm gonna do
the Defenders.
Defenders 10.
Yeah, 10.
Defenders 10. I think probably. I would say one of the most well remembered and well loved comic books of the Bronze Age. Defenders number 10. Great, like Hulk Thor battle issue. So this is page 3. This is where the battle starts. So Thor shows up. You got this great Mighty Thor caption with his logo in it. And Thor shows up and gets walloped by the Hulk. And this great drawing by Sal Buscema. And that it just continues. This is a couple pages later. This is page 6. Fight continues. This page is more, it's a little bit back and forth, but you got Hulk getting whacked with Thor's hammer, and then Thor getting punched by the Hulk. Really, a great Bronze Age action page. 2 titans going at it. When these pages came in, it was impressive. You see a lot of Bronze Age artwork. It's out there, it's around, but you don't see a lot of Bronze Age artwork from classic issues. And I think that's what makes these pages so special.
Yeah, I agree. And nobody draws Hulk like Sal. Look at the face in that first panel.
Yep.
He's so mean. It's so Sal. I love it. I do.
No, absolutely. No, I remember when I first started, working conventions, somebody I knew who couldn't go to the show, like really was like, I really need you to find me a Defenders number 10.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of, because that's not the era I grew up in, but that was sort of the first I became aware of that book. And then I was looking around and I was like, why is Defenders 10 so expensive? And now I know why. It's like, oh, it's because it's great. That's why.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that is so very true. I'm a huge Thor fan, so that was an issue I enjoyed too.
No, yeah, absolutely. Jim Lee next.
Yep.
Jim Lee, Wonder Woman. Hard to beat. This is a variant cover to Dark Knight's Metal number 1 from 2017. Jim Lee, Scott Williams just has. I don't know if there's an artist better at doing iconic imagery of major heroes than Jim Lee, and this is a pretty special, like classic heroic Wonder Woman image. Yeah, just good drawing all around, really. Jim and Scott have worked together for so long that I think they have a shorthand with each other. They both know what the piece is going to look like, I think, before they even start. And it shows the work. They're very comfortable working together. I mean, it's pushing on late 80s, I think, is the first time they worked together. On X-Men, I think, unless they started before. But yeah, and getting a Jim Lee cover is pretty great. And a Wonder Woman cover. It's a major DC character cover.
Jim's tends to be setting records every time he releases new covers and things.
He's one
of those few artists that raises the bar seemingly, with his new art drops and things. So I mean, his stuff is just always desirable.
And for a reason. It's with McFarlane and Rob Liefeld, I think that they're the 3 artists that define their era.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't talk about that time period of comics without talking about those three guys. And all three of them are still relevant and still producing work that people really enjoy.
Very, very true. Yeah, I like this piece a lot. Didn't read it though, but that's all right.
Yeah, what's next?
Larry Lieber. That's
Larry
Savage
Lieber.
Combat Tales cover.
Yes, Sergeant Stryker's Death Squad. Larry Lieber, brother of Mr. Stan Lee. This is from the Atlas, short-lived Atlas comics. Again, Larry Lieber, because he'd been around for so long, really understood how to make a cover dynamic. And I really love that the horizon line is the surface of the water. It's clever. And so you have you have a top and a bottom, but it's all at the end of the day one image. But it really does a good job of separating the action for what's going on above the water and below the water. And you get a real sense of dread, a little grenade hanging out there. The title and the balloons are on an overlay.
Okay.
They're not on an overlay. They are pasted down. I think they're actually all original. You know what? I take it back. They're all original as far as I can tell. Everything's a different piece. Usually when they're recreated, you get everything sort of all on one sheet.
Yeah.
The numbers on a separate piece, the comics code of stamps on a separate piece. I would say, in my expert opinion, these are original stamps, as far as I can tell. But very cool. Yeah, Frank Giacoia inks. We've talked about Giacoia before. I think one of the most unappreciated inkers in all of comics. He did so much work, and he made artists better.
Yeah, I love this one. Even with the Kirby crackle underwater, it works.
Absolutely.
All right, what do we got next here? The Marie Severin Tower of Shadows.
I love this cover. Great Marvel horror cover by Marie Severin, who's I think people are finally starting to realize what a good artist she was, and not just John Severin's sister and the EC colorist. She was a really good artist. She did a lot of really good work at Marvel. Speaking of people who drew great Hulk, Marie Severin's Hulk comics are great. And this is just a good cover. Inked by Herb Trimpe, which is actually kind of interesting. I don't really think of Trimpe as an inker.
No.
But I like this cover a lot. Good 70s Marvel horror.
Well, Trimpe and Marie were in the bullpen together a lot, so maybe
that makes sense.
An early piece for him to get educated by Marie.
1970 would have been early for Trimpe. But yeah, very cool.
Yeah, when you're raising a demon, it's probably best to draw the shades, though. That would be my advice too. They got everything open to people out there at the cafe.
If I was drawing this cover, I would have put in shades, because then you wouldn't have had to draw the buildings on the other side.
Right, exactly. You just had some long curtains there. But hey, maybe she was trying to teach Trimpe a lesson on this one. Sometimes he could have taken a little alliteration with it. But it's beautiful.
Sorry if I'm moving very fast, but there's a lot to get to.
There is. So the Bill Sienkiewicz piece.
I love this piece so much. You're going to want to pull it up, because there's going to be some glare here, and this piece is big. But so this piece, I'll try to be as brief as possible when I'm talking about these things. So when we got this piece, the consignor bought it with a batch of Elektra Assassin pages, something like 25 years ago. So he assumed it was from Elektra Assassin, put it away, didn't think about it. When he decided to sell it, he gives it to me, and I'm looking through Elektra Assassin, and I'm like, I can't find this. It'd be a hard thing to miss. So, but it's clearly of that time. And because it was bought with other pages that were from Elektra Assassin, like that just made sense. Mm-hmm. So I did a pretty good amount of effort trying to figure out what this piece was. And I finally got in touch with Sienkiewicz, and his quote is in the listing, if you want to pull it up so I don't have to paraphrase. But it is Elektra Assassin time period. It was drawn, I think he says, either immediately before or during the Electro Assassin process.
As a personal piece, but done at the same time or lead up to Electro Assassin, just enjoying playing with shapes and composition like he always did, during that period. Says it could have been used in that.
I like it a lot. I think it's almost abstract, but you can see, kind of get a sense of what's going on. It's a little helicopter over here. It's very much in the same style of the Electra book. And I think it's just a stunning piece. Signed down here, it's a little hard to see, but it's there. I think this piece is stunning, honestly. I would be thrilled to hang this up. I like it a lot.
And it's 22 by 16.
Yeah, it's big for scale.
Yeah, that'll look nice on a wall.
Double spread size.
Nice.
But really, really nice.
Oh, let's see. J. Scott Campbell next.
This was the cover to a PlayStation magazine in 2001. Campbell, inked by Tim Townsend. I mean, not early Campbell, but this is 20 something years old now. And yeah, just a classic Spider-Man image. And I love the webbing around the edges. Just the pose is dynamic. And Campbell, and speaking of people who have been around for a long time and never lost any popularity, if not gained popularity, Campbell was a popular guy in like 1994.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is a really nice. If you're a Spider-Man fan, I don't know that you can get a much better Spider-Man image, just a standalone image than this. And published cover, I assume there was a Spider-Man video game around that time.
Right. Well, Townsend always did a good job inking Campbell.
Townsend and Campbell make a lot of sense. It was a good pairing, signed by both of them. Nice, big, another just big Spider-Man. That's what's nice about covers. You get these really big images of the characters. And yeah, classic Spidey. Even got a little underarm webbing. I'm a big fan of the underarm webbing. Yeah,
definitely. And you get the McFarlane webbing too.
Yeah, because that's how webbing became. It was very fast. So went from not being like that to every Spider-Man book had that webbing in it. Very, very fast.
All right. Next up, Humberto Ramos.
All right, so I'm going to go through this as quickly as I can. This is cover and complete 30-page issue, Extraordinary X-Men #1 by Humberto Ramos. So you've got just cover, page after page after page. There's the 3 double spreads in here. There's one. There's several splash pages. This is, it's the first issue of an X-Men title, and then at the end of the issue, Old Man Logan comes in. That's the final page. And there's also includes a penciled alternate version of that page that was unused. So you get a little bonus art and 30 pages and a cover of an X-Men comic with Wolverine in it, and Storm, and Iceman, and Magic, and it's just Nightcrawler. Yeah, this is cool. You don't see a lot of complete modern issues come up for sale. They sell sometimes, but you don't often see them in a public sale. And it's pretty cool.
Wow, it's still priced at $4,000 on the current bid.
I think there's a lot of room on that.
Yeah, I do too. I love Ramos's work. So I think
it's very pretty. It's the first time I've really gotten to really look at Ramos over that many pages. Mm-hmm. And yeah, his line work is really good. His composition is really nice. I like that he's got like a unique, very identifiable take on the characters. Really, 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 really cool. Somebody's going to get a lot of art
Right. Well, there's a lot of people who appreciate getting complete issues out there too.
Yeah.
So this makes it kind of easy with you having it all together like that.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Oh, Frank Thorne Fighting Forces cover.
Frank Thorne. Frank Thorne, most well known for Gita and Red Sonja.
Yeah.
This is the only cover Frank Thorne did for a major DC war title, and I wish he had done more because there's a Kubertness to Thorne that, for better or worse. And so when you think of Kubert, you think of the war titles, and maybe that's why Thorne didn't want to do more of them. I have no idea. I'm just hypothesizing. But yeah, I mean, war comic from the 70s with Nazis in it. I don't know what else you need. Nazis in a comic book cover. I mean, that's as classic as it gets.
No, and these are always the best. That foreboding, these guys are in a tent or whatever. I mean, there's so many covers had the same kind of storyline, approaching danger unwittingly. And I mean, this has got it in spades. So, and I thought Kubert the same. I knew it was Thorne because of the title, but when you first look at it, you see the Kubert influence in the line work and whatnot. So, but you could carry that over thinking about Red Sonja and a few other,
of course,
Gita and whatnot.
Yep, great expressions on the Nazi goons.
Come on, losers! All right, no, it's a good one. And this next one, a Master of Kung Fu cover by Buckler.
Kung Fu by Rich Buckler. Master of Kung Fu 43. Is this another underwater cover with Shang-Chi, fighting as he does. Yes, faces electronic death at the hands of Shockwave. The title stat is original. These two stats are recreated, but everything up here is original. Period. Buckler pencils and inks, so it's and you see Master of Kung Fu pages a lot. The series ran for 130 something issues more, but you don't see a lot of covers, especially covers this early. And and one of the more well-remembered titles of the 70s. I think a lot of people I know who you wouldn't necessarily guess would be fans of Master of Kung Fu can't stop talking about Master of Kung Fu.
I bought it. I mean, what are you going to do? I've already watched, the Carradine show and all that stuff. And so it was very timely, I think. But love Buckler, a lot.
Another cool Bronze Age Marvel cover. It's hard to go wrong.
And what do we got here? There's a Phantom story, right?
Yes, an 8-page Jim Aparo Phantom story. Jim Aparo, this is some relatively early Aparo. This is 1969, and his Phantom artwork is very rare, and the complete stories are even rarer. There are some stats on this first page. The alligators are stats that they were moved. They were drawn on this page and then shifted around a little bit. Phantom is a stat. There's a different drawing of the Phantom underneath, but the rest of the pages are great. I don't have time to go through them all, but they're all there. I'm a big Jim Aparo fan. He was the artist on Batman when I started reading Batman, so I'll always have a soft spot for Jim Aparo. And it's really neat to see his earlier work. I love that last panel on that page, shooting the crack, crack, crack. But I think there are only a few issues. It's Phantom number 34, but I think issue 1 is the first issue is like 32. So there's not very many of them. They're very rare and very cool. And again, it's not a complete issue. It's only 8 pages, but it is a complete story. It's cool to get complete stories. We've got a few more of them coming up. I like that, the idea that these things were kept together for 50 plus years.
Oh yeah. That doesn't happen all the time, as we know, but it is nice when you can get a complete story. And I think that, there's Aparo's stuff. He worked on a lot of in stories like this, where it's an 8-page story inside of a larger book, and they're out there. I mean, we've seen a few in the last year or so. So yeah, this is nice.
Yeah. What's next?
What do we got next? A Keith Pollard cover.
This is technically an unpublished cover.
Okay.
The title is recreated to sort of approximate what it would have looked like. The published cover is by Dave Cockrum. This is Keith Pollard. The published cover is nearly identical to this. If you look at the published book, the action is basically the same. The poses are basically the same. Things are shifted a little, but I would love to know why it was redone, because there's not a whole lot different. And I mean, and maybe is it Dave Cockrum was more popular than Keith Pollard? That could be it. Maybe they wanted to sell the book. This is Moon Knight's first crossover. So the Moon Knight's first story outside of the Moon Knight stories, we're outside of Werewolf by Night and things like that.
Right.
So this is his first like major team up. But again, that's big Spidey, nice Moon Knight. I don't know. Again, I would love to know why. I should find out who edited the series and track them down and be like, why didn't you use that cover? It's weird. But anyway, Keith Pollard, it looks like a cover. It was created to be a cover. And it's got Moon Knight, early Moon Knight. So yeah, 1978. And yeah, your guess is as good as mine.
Right. Hard to say. I mean, it looks complete to me, and you're right. It is pretty close to the published. You never know.
Yeah, it's strange. It's I don't know. I don't understand comic books.
Well, but we've seen that before. There's some classic covers out there that have unused ones that sometimes we feel are better than than what got used to. So there's a lot of oddities out there like this one.
Honestly, if you looked at the two covers side by side, it's not even that one is necessarily better than the other. They're just kind of the same.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Well, I hope he got paid for it, even though it wasn't used.
I hope so. All right, let's move on. We got a lot to get to.
Yes, we do. Right. Bernie Wrightson, Frankenstein.
Frankenstein drawing. This is it's not dated, but it was bought from Wrightson directly sometime in 1982, 83. So it's an early 80s Wrightson Frankenstein. Beautiful, large. That image is probably about like 13 inches tall. It's a big full figure Frankenstein by Wrightson, not that far removed from when he drew the Frankenstein book. I mean, I don't need to tell everybody why Bernie Wrightson is so great. It's plainly evident.
No,
and it's
absolutely.
Cool. And I said it's period.
All right. What do we got here?
Yeah.
Herb Trimpe, a recreation.
Oh yeah, so this is
a very famous one.
Not the final page to Hulk 180, but the next best thing. Recreated by Trimpe. It's not dated, but based on the drawing, I'm going to say it's circa 2000-ish. It doesn't look older than that, but it also doesn't look much later because the drawing is on point.
Mm-hmm.
And what I think is most interesting about this is that I've never seen another one. I've seen a handful of 181 cover recreations. I've seen a handful of just the Wolverine panel recreated, but I've never seen him do the whole page other than this one. And the original of this page is, what did it sell for? Like $700,000 almost 10 years ago?
Yeah, right in there. Yeah.
So
no, I agree with you. And I've seen, Trimpe recreated a lot of different stuff, right? He did a lot of covers, but many times they were only pencils. So you've got a penciled and inked piece by him. I mean, that makes it all the more special too.
And I really enjoy the panels up at the top. Like, it's a really well done recreation. It's surprisingly well done. And because the original page is, one, not available, and two, if it were available, just prohibitively valuable, just absurd. It's probably a $2-3 million page now.
Yeah, how can you almost can't put a price on it? Well, if the cover ever came out, the next one, 181, came out, you couldn't put a price on that. But I agree. I mean, it would be tough. $2 million could be light.
Yeah, I may have said when the Secret Wars page sold last year for $3.6, I said the happiest person in the world is the guy who owns the last page to Hulk 180, because that page is more valuable than the page in Hulk 8.
Exactly.
Or at least it should be more valuable. But
right.
yeah, but this is not a lot. I have really nothing negative to say about this. It's a really well done recreation.
Agreed.
Yep.
Let's see. Steranko.
Right. Let's get through as much as we can in the next 10 minutes, and then I'm going to spend 10 minutes burning through things that I want to just show.
Yeah. Sorry, man. We're going to get this thing worked out where I can give you 2 full hours or as much time as you need.
Timing is always bad. Well, we were going to do the show on Monday, but I was in Seattle for Emerald City over the weekend.
Right.
I came back on Monday, and it was just logistically not going to happen. I love this piece.
I don't blame you.
More than maybe any piece in the auction. I think it's so quintessentially Steranko, and the least interesting part to me is the Dr. Doom. Like all this design stuff is just so Steranko, and the Dr. Doom is really good. It's not. I'm not knocking the Dr. Doom. I just like this. I could just see this top here, and I would know that Jim Steranko drew this page. And I think anybody who's been around long enough knows how rare published Steranko art is. It's just very, very hard to get. This is from 1973. It's from the first issue of Marvel's Foom magazine. This is technically a puzzle, but I defy anybody to solve it. I've tried. I've looked through. I was like, I don't even know what the rules are. But who cares? It doesn't even matter. It's just so beautiful to look at. Signed by Steranko at the top. I think this piece is criminally low in the auction right now. I think if at the price it's at right now, it's literally like stealing. I mean, what's it at?
It's at $2,600 right now.
That's mind-boggling.
No, I agree. I mean, you really don't see Steranko published pieces on the market too often.
You can't get a good Steranko that he drew this year for $2,600.
Right. No, it's gonna change. I mean, it's Foom, but still, it's a published Steranko, and it does have Dr. Doom on it. So I mean, it's got a lot going for it. It's
so cool. All right. Next is the Star Wars and the Super. Okay, it's another complete story.
That is true.
This is a 10-page Supergirl story by Art Saff and Vince Colletta. It's another one. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it's all there. Very cool. 1974. It's a cool Supergirl story. Supergirl fighting. Oh, I forget what the premise is, but it's like another super character. I can't remember if it's a clone or I think it's a clone. And just a classic like 70s DC goofiness, but really well drawn by Saff. And again, it's hard. You don't see complete stories like this very often. These would have been broken up and sold for probably $10 a page at the time. So, yeah, probably something like that. So, yeah, very cool. Another one that I think has some room to go.
Oh yeah, without question. And we got an Alex Ross Astro City cover. That's not too bad.
Astro City, the Dark Age, Book 3, Number 3. So it's basically just a whole bunch of Astro City villains. I don't know if they're villains. I think they're villains. And just creatures. Great Alex Ross colors. I really like how bright and vivid the colors are. Very interesting designs. I love this like brain squid guy. Yeah, I mean Alex Ross is Alex Ross. It's hard to argue quality. Astro City, I think, is an underrated book still. I mean, I still read it when it comes out every so often. And part of the charm is these Ross covers. I think it's a nice consistent. Like every issue of Alex Ross, every issue about Astro City has an Alex Ross cover on it. And they're all pretty cool. This guy here is really cool. This little like weird. I don't know what that is, but I like it. It's got big eyes. Yeah,
you can't go wrong with an Alex Ross.
Hard to go wrong with Alex Ross.
Oh man, let's see. Joe Kubert. We were talking about him
Kubert.
Earlier, looking at the Thorn, but now it's Kubert and Batman 400.
Batman number 400. Shockingly, I was stunned when I found this out. This is from 1986. This is the first time Joe Kubert ever drew a Batman interior work.
Huh.
So he had done covers, but he had never drawn Batman interiors. And after this, he only did one other story, and it's for the Batman Black and White miniseries from the 90s. Very few interior pages of Batman by Kubert, and that Batman image down at the bottom is great.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I wonder why, just because there are so many other great Batman artists, you know,
maybe.
while he was working, but still, I mean, he draws a really great Batman here.
Yeah, I like this page. I like this page very much. And again, the rarity of it, which I didn't even realize until I started looking it up, I think just makes it actually much cooler. It's just unusual, you know, for a guy as prolific as Kubert, who had been around for as long as he had. By that point, Kubert had been around for 30 years, had never drawn a Batman story.
Wow, can you imagine if he had drawn, you know, several issues? I mean, this is great. I mean, I would have loved to have seen more work from him on Batman. Yeah, I love this page. Panel layout's gorgeous.
Yeah, John Byrne Avengers coming next, I think.
Yep, that is true.
John Byrne, inked by Kyle Baker, which is really unusual, and actually kind of interesting. I really love this Star Fox up here. Really well drawn. I like everything about this figure. This figure is well drawn. That's Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel. We got Cap and Hercules. I think that's the Black Knight, and I think the Wasp. But yeah, this is 1985. Like nice period Byrne, and really interesting combination with the Kyle Baker inks.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous page from Annual 14.
Yep. This is Ross Andru and Dick Giordano's the DC Comics Presents Superman and Aquaman. So the image of that's Ocean Master and Aquaman here was actually redrawn and pasted down. The previous owner had the paste up removed and put on an overlay so you could see the original drawing underneath. And then the repositioning for the published piece. There is some original art on the paste up as well. But I think that's clever. So you're not losing the original drawing. But yeah, nice Ross Andru Superman Aquaman cover.
Yeah, that is nice that that they did it that way, because a lot of times, you know, you don't get to see what's underneath it. But no, that's good.
There's a lot of guessing about, well, is the drawing under there or isn't it? And it's nice to know that it's definitely there. Let's run through. There's a few Silver Surfer pages. I'll run through them all. This is the death of Morg. The Morg was Galactus's herald at the time. So this is the death of one of Galactus's heralds. Silver Surfer up here. Nice, like two big images. Like, you know, this is like a classic 90s Ron Lim Silver Surfer. Another one here with just more. This is a great panel. The two of that Silver Surfer going head to head there. So yeah, just a nice Surfer action page. And this is I like this page a lot. It's Galactus and all of his heralds. And I think in this one, he's about to choose Morg as his herald. So this is issue 70. The death page is from issue 75. But I like that, you know, the little pastiche of heralds, Galactus's heralds.
Yeah, it's a nice image of Galactus on there too. Yeah. So we got about a little less than 10 minutes. So you want to run through them, and I'll.
Another piece that I think is criminally inexpensive right now.
Yeah.
Darwin Cook, New Frontier. This is climactic page from the last issue. This is Green Lantern, who's basically the star of New Frontier, sort of finally accepting his place as the Green Lantern and unleashing his full power. And Darwin Cook is exceptional. Yeah, one of the best comic book storytellers of the last 20 years. And his loss was major, you know, because he was so young, and you wonder about all the work he had left in him. And this is a beautiful page from one of the best DC books of recent memory. And yeah, it's fabulous. Let's see, Stephen Hughes, Lady Death Vampirella, sadly another artist who died way too young. Let's see, this is a really nice Daredevil splash page by Scott McDaniel.
Yeah.
Daredevil and Spider-Man, really nice. The shattered glass here is on an overlay. It was printed in white in the actual page, but yeah, very cool, very nice. This could have been a cover. This is cover quality splash page. It's really, really well done. We got a couple of Rich Buckler Spider-Man pages, Black Cat battle page, and then another page of Spidey in his black suit.
So you got black costume Spidey there.
Yeah.
And Black Cat.
Spectacular Spider-Man 116. It's got a splash page from the Excalibur special, the first Excalibur book. And anybody who has read the first Excalibur book remembers fondly the Werewolves. I know I do. And Alan Davis is great. Very good. That's a cool piece. Let's see, you got Rich Buckler Man-Thing all over it.
I love that one.
11 is early Man-Thing art. Got another Alan Davis Excalibur page with a big 2/3 splash image of Kang the Conqueror. Popular now for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
We got a Sal Buscema Submariner page, and with this beautiful Imperious Rex all over this first panel. I like this page a lot too. It's very, that's just cool. This is a Venom cover by Ryan Stegman. Stegman's pencils are digital here, so it's J.P. Mayer inks over digital pencils, but this is the published cover, a great image of Venom holding the, I apologize for my lack of knowledge of this stuff, but holding the sword, which is apparently important.
I don't know the name either, so don't feel bad. And that Submariner was pretty damn incredible, I have to tell you.
The complete story by Tony DiZuniga from Weird War Tales. And forgetting the rest of the pages, this opening panel with this image up here is worth the price of admission. Beautiful. This is Weird War Tales number 13 from 1972. So it's an early issue of Weird War Tales as well. Let's see. This is Bob McLeod pencils and inks on an Amazing Spider-Man page, Spider-Man 220, and unfortunately a little yellowed, but a nice Spider-Man page with Spidey changing into Peter Parker and going to get yelled at by J. Jonah James.
Just a day in the life.
Exactly. This is a early Whilce Portacio with Scott Williams inks from Punisher Original number 17. That's a nice. I love page ones with the indicia. It's a very comic booky. I have a few of those myself. I'm a fan of page ones. This is P. Craig Russell, Son of Satan. Another, just good drawing by P. Craig Russell. Let's see, skip some things. The Frank Frazetta drawings was a prelim to a comic strip that he worked on called Ambidexter. What's interesting about this piece, I'll just show it real briefly. So it's got this Frazetta prelim on the front, and on the back is this beautiful full landscape by Roy Krinkle, which is very strange.
I thought you were going to show us another Frazetta on the back.
Roy Krinkle, which they were friends, so it's not hugely surprising. And he probably was just there, probably just hanging out, and that the Frazetta had done I assume the Frazetta drawing came first, and then Krinkle just wanted to draw something, and Frazetta was probably like, here, you can draw on the back of this. But two for one. It's a twofer. Let's see. It's a great Alex Savick Spidey versus the Hulk battle page from Web of Spider-Man number 69. Yes. Great battle panels by Savick. Let's see. A little alternative art here. Jim Woodring, Frank and Fran from the Fran book from about 10 years ago. Gee, damn. Let me guess that. But, beautiful drawing. Jim Woodring should be more famous.
He definitely should be.
This is awesome. The Alex Toth page of Wonder Woman drawings. This was created for the Underoos company as a model guide, sheet and style guides for an animated TV commercial. And again, people of the age that grew up with Star Wars are also of the age to remember Underoos.
I had a pair. I don't remember what though. Sad thing.
I had several. Let's see. Skipping over some things.
You got a lot of good. There's you got Smart Adams, Graham Nolan, Joe.
Yeah,
Jessica,
man. Thor 2/3 Splash by John Buscema. Hard to complain about that.
Yeah, from issue 202. Yeah, that's great.
Couple of pages by Mark Texeira. One Ghost Rider all over it. Another from X-Men number 11. It's the backup feature from X-Men number 11. Nice 90s Texeira. This is the cover to Stormwatch number 28. Significant because that is Swift, who would become a member of the Authority, and this is her first appearance. So this is the first appearance of a character who was just announced to be in a movie. So this should go for more money because it's a first appearance of a character, of a potentially major character from a movie. Early Transformers page from Marvel is Frank Springer from Transformers number 3. Got Optimus Prime, a bunch of Transformers, very cool. Let's see, got some painted art from Magic the Gathering by Christoph Muller. This is from a Magic the Gathering set from 2007. But nice painting, magic.
We got 60 seconds, Micah.
All right. I got these.
I know Mike is going to be at WonderCon, Stanley.
This is. You might have to go. I got 3 minutes. This is promotion art for proposal for what would become the Fantastic Four movie in the early 2000s. So this is by a guy named Mark McCreary, and he worked for the Stan Winston Studios. It's got Stan Winston COA with it. If you look up Mark Crash McCreary, he worked on so many movies like Jurassic Park and all sorts of. He was a huge, artist at Stan Winston Studios. This is a beautiful piece. I wish the movie was this good. But this is also another piece that these are so rare, and this is all detailed graphite. This drawing in person is insane. What do we got? A couple. Let's see if we can get a couple more. This is from the Marvel UK reprint of the third appearance of Moon Knight, and this came out, I think, 1 month after it came out in America. So very, very early Moon Knight art. This is by Jeff Ackland. We really got to get more time. All right.
I'm sorry, man.
No, it's not your fault.
If this happens again, we're going to start at 7 next time.
That's not a bad idea. I implore everybody to go look at the auction to see the rest. There's some really great stuff in it. We will be at the New Jersey Art Con on Sunday. I'll have a few of the pieces to show, but we're always happy to talk. And if anybody wants to bring anything potentially for the next auction, we'll be happy to talk about that. Again, already some great pieces, really exceptional pieces already for the next auction. We'll be at the Jersey Art Con on Sunday. We'll be in WonderCon in 2 weeks in Anaheim. Mm-hmm. We'll be at C2E2 in Chicago the week after that. We'll be at the Little Giant Con in New Hampshire in April. We will be set up at Lake Como in Italy in May. And that's exciting for so many reasons.
Of course.
But, if anybody's going to Lake Como, I've got a stash of art that's going to be available for sale that I've been saving just for that show. I'm debuting a bunch of really, really nice pieces at Lake Como.
Sweet.
And then
hit me with any PR that I can do for you.
Of course. We'll
get out
keep
there.
you in the loop. Thanks again, Bill. Thanks everybody for watching. I didn't get to a lot, so
I did put the link in the chat. There's a link in the show description, so everybody should head over there and check it out. And I know we'll be doing a fair amount of PR for you before the auction's over too. So
Yeah, auction ends on Monday. Auction ends Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern. You got all weekend to look at it and bid.
That is true.
Thanks again.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. You'll see me in the CAF update in about 60 seconds.
Goodbye.
Have a good night.